Hello, everyone. Jeshua here. We're live, and I have a very special thing to share today regarding ADHD. So, for those of you out there who are struggling or suffering or dealing with ADHD or know someone with ADHD, here is the cause and the cure for ADHD. I don't say that lightly, it's pretty profound, and you can do it. You can heal yourself, cure yourself. You don't need any medications or anything. Okay. Welcome, Christiani. All right. So let me show you where you can find this information. I just created this page today, the toggle network mechanism. So if you go to the website and you go to the toggle network mechanism, that's under neuroscience. You can even find it on the neuroscience index, the toggle network mechanism. So this is the cause and the cure for ADHD. That's what we're going through right now. I'm a little bit tired today, so it's going to be a little more relaxed probably than usual. As you can tell, I'm in a t-shirt. Hold on a second. Wife said she's watching. Give me just a moment, folks. And you're more than welcome to read this over yourself. I would highly recommend it if you want to get all these deep insights. And then, of course, the rest of the framework here on claim freedom goes deep into it, as well as the book. The network toggle mechanism, how the listener switches between flow and reflection. Overview. A fundamental insight of modern neuroscience. The brain cannot run two primary processing modes simultaneously. The default mode network, DMN, that's introspection, narrative, and planning, and the task positive network, TPN, action, focus, and presence, are anti-correlated. That means they operate like a toggle switch, not like two programs running at once. In a healthy brain function, when the DMN is active, the TPN is suppressed, so you're reflecting, you're not acting. But when the TPN is active, then the DMN is suppressed, you're acting and not narrating. The toggle operator is the salience network, the neurological substrate of the listener, or the divine spark, or pure awareness, or your soul, or God, or whatever you want to call it. When awareness is anchored in the SIN, or the salience network, you gain the capacity to consciously toggle between modes based on what the moment requires. When the salience network is weak or hijacked, both networks run simultaneously, creating the scattered, unfocused, ruminating state characteristic of ADHD, anxiety, and depression. So this is it, folks. This is what causes ADHD, anxiety, and depression. And this is the cause. Excuse me. And once you understand this, you understand how the listener works and the voice works and everything, then you reclaim control and your ADHD, anxiety, and depression is cured. Like full stop, 100%. Good times. So this page explains the neurological toggle mechanism, how the salience network or the listener operates the switch, and what happens when the toggle breaks. So you get ADD or ADHD, anxiety, and depression. Welcome Titus, Kyler, Terry, Last Chance, Will Fitness, Fab Abster, Shay Change, Raven Moon, Oh That's Thomas, and Mayno, and Andre Fuller. So this page explains the neurological toggle mechanism, how the salience network or the listener operates a switch, what happens when the toggle breaks, ADD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression. Welcome Exact Revenge. How to strengthen the toggle through practice, so how to eliminate your ADHD, anxiety, and depression without medication, without counselors, without any of that stuff. Like you do it all by yourself. You have the power within you. And the connection between flow states and task positive network activation. The anti-correlation discovery. The foundational research. Key study, Fox et al. 2005 discovered that the default mode network and task positive network are negatively correlated. When one network increases activity, the other decreases. Neuroimaging evidence. So at rest, the mind wandering, a DMN activity goes up, default mode network, and then the task positive network activity goes down. During focused tasks, default mode network activity goes down, and the task positive network activity goes up. The strength of anti-correlation predicts cognitive performance, and that's from a study, Kelly et al., 2008. And you can look up all these studies on the page. They're all cited. So here's a citation here to one of the studies and a link. Why anti-correlation matters. The brain has limited resources. You cannot deeply ruminate about the past, default mode network, while fully focusing on a present task, task positive network. And you cannot engage in complex self-referential narrative, default mode network, while executing flow state action, task positive network. Phenomenology, a healthy toggle. I was worried about the presentation, default mode network, but once I started presenting, task positive network, the worry dissolved, because you can't do both at the same time. When you have a broken toggle, where you have ADD or ADHD, I'm trying to focus on this task positive network attempt, but I keep worrying about everything, so my default mode network is intruding. The critical insight, mental health and cognitive performance depend on clean switching between these modes. The salience network, the toggle operator. So the salience network is the one that switches between the modes, and that's your listener, your divine spark, your soul, Christ, God, the Father in heaven, the Lord, whatever you want to call it. The salience network as gatekeeper. The salience network, SN, anchored in the anterior insula and dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, DACC, is the brain's network switcher. Primary functions: detect salience. What is important right now? Internal reflection versus external action. Welcome Wyatt Sharp and Tudio Tone. We're just going over the cause and the cure for ADD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression right now, and how you can solve it and cure it for yourself right now, today. All right, so step 2, determine mode. Should I be introspecting, default mode network, or acting, task positive network? 3, execute the switch. Activate appropriate network and suppress the other. 4, monitor the switch. Maintain awareness of current mode. That's called meta-awareness. That's where you're aware of awareness. Neurologically, the salience network has direct connections to both the default mode network and task positive network hubs, allowing it to modulate their activity. That's from a study by Menon in 2011. Welcome, Liam and Nicole. The triple network model, Menon, 2011. So the network, the default mode network, its function is introspection, narrative, and self-reference. And when it's active, there's rest, planning, reflection, and meaning making. For the task positive network, the function is focused attention, task execution, and presence. And when it's active, there's problem solving, action, and flow states. Everyone loves flow state. And then the salience network, its function is salience detection, network switching, and meta awareness. When active, it's always monitoring, the observer of both modes. So the salience network is supposed to always be active. But in a hijacked brain, the salience network is minimally active or hijacked, and that causes all sorts of problems like ADD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, and every other problem on the planet that we're experiencing right now. Pretty much. So the key, the salience network is the listener, the awareness that is prior to and observing both introspective thought, default mode network, and focused attention, task positive network. The citation is from Menon v. 2011, Large-Scale Brain Networks and Psychopathology, a Unifying Triple Network Model, from Trends in Cognitive Sciences, and there's the link to the study there on the page. So there's your science backing it up. And welcome, A. Task positive network activation. That's flow state. That's the state that we all love to be in all the time. And you can be there pretty much all the time. Flow as default mode network suppression plus task positive network dominance. Flow is the experiential state of complete absorption in an activity, characterized by loss of self-consciousness, timelessness. That's when, like, wow, time flew by really fast. I must have really been enjoying myself. Effortless action, and merging of action and awareness. Neurologically, flow states show increased task positive network. So the DLPFC and PPC, that's the executive control and attention, and decreased default mode network activity. That's the medial prefrontal cortex and postcingulate cortex, self-referential narrative suppressed, and that leads to transient hypofrontality, so reduced self-monitoring in advanced flow states. So you're not thinking about anything, you're just doing. And here's the citation. So backed by science again. Why flow states feel liberating. In flow, the voice, the default mode network generated narrative, is silent. There is only action, task positive network, and awareness, salience network. No self-conscious monitoring, no rumination, and no anxiety about outcomes. This is a taste of gnosis, experiential realization that you are not the voice, the default mode network narrative, but the listener, the salience network awareness, directing the daemon, the task positive network action. Flow state synonymy with task positive network activation. Task positive network activation and flow state are functionally synonymous. Flow is the phenomenological description, what it feels like, and then the task positive network dominance is the neurological description, what's happening in the brain. And I don't know what I did to myself to end up here where I am today, having to say all these crazy words like phenomenological, trying not to trip over my own tongue. Activities that induce task positive network and flow. Creative work. And Paul Levy talks a lot about this with his dispelling Wetico and breaking Watico. So creative work, painting, writing, coding, building. Physical exercise, running, dancing, climbing, musical performance, deep conversation, complex problem solving, and skilled craftsmanship. What they all have in common? Present moment engagement that requires focused attention, suppressing default mode network narrative. Welcome, Julie Cunningham. When the toggle breaks, that's when we get ADD and ADHD. And this is also tied to the amygdala somehow. I'm not exactly sure yet, but I know that the amygdala shrinks and when you don't use it. So it's kind of like a muscle. All of this is like a muscle. Use it or lose it. The simultaneous network problem. In ADHD, the toggle mechanism is impaired. Instead of clean switching, both the default mode network and the task positive network are partially active simultaneously. That's not good. Neither network dominates, and the salience network cannot maintain stable switching. The neuroimaging findings in ADHD, when the weakened default mode network and task positive network anti-correlation, and the reduced task positive network activation during attention tasks, and the default mode network intrusion during tasks, that leads to an impaired salience network function. So this is what they found with neuroimaging studies, and these are the studies where they found these. Welcome, Cameron Brown. And here's some more citations. So a lot of these, though, are behind paywalls. You might not be able to like read them because a lot of these scientific things get put behind paywalls. But these are the links to the studies, and luckily they have been all fed into AI. So we're able to have AI reference them for us without us having to pay to access all these, to learn all this stuff. So the phenomenology, both networks running simultaneously, what it feels like when the default mode network and the task positive network both run at once. Welcome, Pierre. This is what we call ADD or ADHD. I'm trying to focus on this task positive network, but my mind keeps wandering, default mode network. Or I start something and immediately think of 5 other things, default mode network intrusion. Welcome, Ash. Or I can't tell if I should be planning or doing, I feel scattered. Or I'm hyper aware of myself while trying to act. That's the default mode network. Self-monitoring is interfering with the task positive network execution. So the result, you get fragmented attention. Neither deep reflection nor deep focus is possible. You get executive dysfunction. You can't sustain goal-directed behavior, task positive network. You get rumination during tasks. So worry and self-referential thought intrude, and that's the default mode network. And you experience chronic overwhelm. So the brain is working hard but accomplishing little. Welcome, Tikuz. This is the opposite of flow. Instead of effortless absorption, there's effortful scattering. Welcome, Rastaman. The hijacked default mode network makes it worse. In the framework, ADHD is not just a weak salience network, it's often a hijacked default mode network, or the demon, running rampant. The default mode network generates compulsive narratives. You're failing, you'll never finish, you're broken. The salience network is too weak to suppress the default mode network, so the task positive network cannot activate fully because the default mode network is consuming resources. And the default mode network consumes a ton of resources when it's running. So the result, you get paralysis, rumination, and scattered action. So the liberation for ADHD is strengthen the salience network, the listener, so it can consciously toggle, suppressing the hijacked default mode network and activating the task positive network for flow, so you can get into flow state. Depression and anxiety, other toggle failures. So depression, that's default mode network dominance and task positive network suppression. In depression, you have a hyperactive default mode network, constant rumination, negative self-referential thought. You have a hypoactive task positive network, so difficulty focusing, initiating action, and sustaining effort. And you have a weak salience network. You cannot switch from rumination to action. So the phenomenology, I know I should do something, but I can't stop thinking about how terrible everything is. I've been there. The toggle is stuck in default mode network mode. The switch won't flip to task positive network. And citations right here. Anxiety, hyperactive default mode network plus a hyperactive task positive network. In anxiety, you have a hyperactive default mode network, so you're worrying, catastrophizing, what if loops, and you have a hyperactive task positive network, so you're hypervigilant, you're over control, and you're scanning for threats all the time. Welcome, GTTM family. Both networks are active simultaneously, so you have a weak anti-correlation. Phenomenology, I'm constantly worrying, default mode network, and on edge, task positive network, but I can't rest or act effectively. The toggle is broken. Both networks are activated, but neither functions well. And then here's more scientific citation. Strengthening the toggle, so anchoring in the salience network. Listener. The practice, conscious network switching. The goal, train the salience network, the listener, to consciously toggle between the default mode network and task positive network based on what the moment requires. How it works. Anchor awareness in the salience network. Interoceptive awareness and meta-awareness. 2. Detect current state. Am I introspecting, default mode network, or am I acting, task positive network? So am I thinking about what I'm going to do, or it's time to act? Which is it? Determine appropriate mode. What does this moment require? Execute the switch. Consciously shift networks. And finally, maintain awareness. Stay anchored in the salience network, the listener, throughout. Practice 1, recognizing the current mode. Step 1, pause and notice. Welcome to Soul Groove. Ask, right now, is my awareness internal, default mode network, or external, task positive network? Am I lost in thought or engaged with the present moment? Default mode network indicators, mind wandering, planning, reminiscing, self-referential narrative, I am or I should, and emotional rumination. Task positive network indicators. You're focused on an external task, you have sensory engagement, you're engaged in active problem solving, and you're in flow state. Salience network indicators, the listener. That's your meta-awareness. I notice I'm thinking, or as Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. Interoceptive awareness. So you're sensing your breath, your heartbeat, your bodily sensations, and you're witnessing consciousness. You're observing without identifying. Training the salience network. Simply noticing which mode you're in activates the salience network, meta-awareness. Practice 2, intentional toggling. Step 1, anchor in the salience network. Focus on your breath, so that's interoceptive awareness. Anchoring in your breath is a really strong, important practice. Welcome CacBall71 and Anna Rufino 79. Notice your body sensations. Rest as the listener, the one observing thoughts and actions. Step 2, determine what is needed. Ask, what does this moment require? Reflection, planning, and integration, that activates the default mode network consciously. Or action, focus, and creation, that activates the task positive network consciously. Step 3, execute the toggle. To activate task positive network, so flow state and action, choose a specific task, engage your sensory motor action, so typing, building, moving, whatever that physical activity is that your task requires. Focus on external objects or problems, so stay out of your mind and stay out of your head. Don't listen to that voice. And notice the default mode network quieting as you engage. Next thing you know, you're in flow state. To activate default mode network, reflection, welcome EJS2544 and Christopher LeBlanc 04. To activate default mode network, reflection, step back from your action, ask reflective questions. What does this mean? Who am I? Allow mind wandering, but consciously, not hijacked rumination, like man, what Sally said last week, and it just really bothered me. Blah blah blah. Like, don't listen to that. Like, focus on the task at hand. Welcome, Alexander. And then notice the task positive network quieting as you introspect. So your physical activity, and you'll become still, and you won't be like bouncing your legs and fidgeting and all the time like what people do with ADHD. Like, they're just always fidgeting and bouncing their legs and everything, because that's the TPN and the DMN being active simultaneously. Step 4, monitor from the salience network. Maintain awareness that you, the listener, are operating the toggle. If the default mode network intrudes during task positive network mode, notice it, salience network, and redirect back to task positive network. Welcome Q67 activation point in EFB and tea time. If the task positive network tries to control reflection, notice it and let it rest. Practice 3, flow state training, so deliberate task positive network activation. The goal, deliberately suppress the default mode network and activate the task positive network to experience flow. How? Welcome Patsy Holmes and Sharon McCutcheon. Nana. Choose an engaging task, creative work, physical activity, problem solving. Anchor in the salience network, so become aware of your breath and your body. Step 3, begin the task. So activate your task positive network. That means physically act. Notice when the default mode network intrudes. So the voice narrating, judging, and worrying and thinking about stuff that isn't related to the task and not here right now in your present moment, and just ignore it. Welcome Bajibo. Step 5, return to the task. Salience network redirects to the task positive network. And step 6, repeat until the default mode network quiets and flow emerges. Now you're in flow state, our favorite state. What you're training, salience network detection, noticing when the default mode network intrudes, salience network switching, redirecting to the task positive network, and then task positive network dominance, sustaining focus until flow emerges. The phenomenology of success, time disappears. Wow, time flew during that activity. Wow, I must have really been enjoying it. The voice is silent, so you're not hearing blah, 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 blah in your head. Action feels effortless. You're just doing, and you're fully present. This is the listener, the salience network, directing the daemon, the task positive network, in pure action, free from the hijacked default mode network or demon. Practice 4, conscious rest, deliberate default mode network activation. Goal, use the default mode network intentionally for reflection and integration, not hijacked rumination. How? Step away from tasks. So disengage the task positive network. Be still. Step 2, anchor in the salience network. So become aware of your breath and your body and any bodily sensations. Step 3, allow reflection. Activate the default mode network consciously. And step 4, ask generative questions. What am I learning? What is the deeper pattern here? What does this experience mean? We can do that right now. That's very meta. Step 5, notice if the default mode network gets hijacked. Rumination, worry, self-attack. Oh man, did I turn the oven off? I don't remember if I turned the oven off. I need to go check if the oven's still on. Step 6, return to the salience network. Breath and interoception, and reframe the reflection. So you just keep practicing returning back over and over again. So you have to be aware, the meta-awareness. That's why you have to practice the interoception. What you're training, conscious default mode network use, reflection without rumination, salience network monitoring, catching when the daemon becomes the demon, integration, using default mode network for meaning making, not self-torture. The phenomenology of success, reflection feels spacious. Phenomenology of success. Reflection feels spacious, not compulsive. Insights arise naturally. You can stop reflecting when it's complete, and there's no anxiety or rumination. This is the listener, the salience network, directing the daemon, the default mode network, in reflective mode, preventing hijacking. Okay, so meditation as toggle training. So mindful meditation is salience network strengthening. The core practice, focus on the breath, the task positive network, and interoception. Notice when the mind wanders. Salience network meta-awareness detects default mode network activation. Step 3, return to the breath. The salience network toggles back to the task positive network or interoception, and repeat. Again, don't get caught up on all these big fancy words. You might have to watch this video or read this or study this. Like, I'm just introducing you to this concept. Like, don't think that you're going to watch some guy on TikTok or YouTube live stream once and just sit through and listen to that and you'll just automatically be a master at this. No, it's practice, it's mastery, and it's something that you have to do continually and study and self-reflection and all that stuff. So it's not instant gratification like everyone wants. I'm sorry. You actually have to put in the work and the effort and have to want to be a functional member of society. Unfortunately, you can't just be automatically made a functional, constructive member of society. What this trains: salience network detection, noticing when the default mode network activates, salience network switching, toggling from default mode network to task positive network interoception, and salience network stability, maintaining awareness as the listener. Neuroimaging validation. Mindfulness meditation strengthens salience network, so increased anterior insula activity. That's from Farb et al. 2007. And mindfulness meditation strengthens task positive network, default mode network anti-correlation. That's a cleaner toggle. That's from Hasenkamp and Barsalou 2012. And here's some links to some citations. Welcome Justin Scott and Just Be Nice. Advanced practice, resting as the salience network. So this is resting in stillness. Be still and know that I am God. In advanced meditation, choiceless awareness, and open monitoring, neither the default mode network or the task positive network dominates. The salience network is primary, pure witnessing awareness. The default mode network and task positive network arise and pass within the field of salience network awareness. The phenomenology: thoughts arise, so that's default mode network activity, but I am not identified with them. I could act, that's the task positive network potential, but I rest as awareness. Hi there, Just Be Nice. I am the space in which everything occurs. This is the listener in its purest form, awareness itself, the toggle operator that is prior to both modes. I'm going to pause here for a second before we wrap this up, and we can go over the framework translation. Does anyone have any questions or insights, or has anyone had an aha moment through this live stream about like their own relation with themselves and everything? I mean, please share. Again, we just went over the cause of ADD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression, as well as the cure that you can do on your own without pharmaceuticals, without money. You do it from home or wherever you're at, and you're free and you're able to live the life that you want and no longer controlled or burdened by ADD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression because you are curing yourself. And it's unfortunate that so many of these people joining are so consumed with their demons, their default mode network is so hijacked that they can't sit for more than 2 seconds without leaving and trying to find the next dopamine hit. Welcome, Kachu85. So like all these people that are joining and leaving need this very, very, very critically and crucially. Alas, we're like kind of in a catch-22, or what they call like a Mexican standoff kind of deal here, but it'll catch up to them. We will rescue everybody. We will heal everybody. All right, so I'll continue. Nani43 said, this is extremely insightful so far, really enjoying it. Framework translation. So in neuroscience, the default mode network is the default, or the daemon is the narrative mode, or the demon is the hijacked mode. And its function is introspection, planning, meaning making, or if it's hijacked, rumination, anxiety, and self-attack. The task positive network is the daemon, the action mode. That's focused attention, task execution, and flow state. Welcome, Supermom05. The salience network, so that's the listener, the divine spark, the pneuma, the soul, the Christ consciousness, the God, Lord, Father in heaven, whatever you want to call it, that's what you are. That's your true expression. That function is meta-awareness, network switching, pure witnessing consciousness. The healthy toggle, in the framework, it's the listener directing the daemon. And the function is conscious choice between reflection and action. Welcome, Josh V. 1357. The broken toggle, ADHD and anxiety and depression, so that's the demon hijacking both modes. That's scattered attention, rumination during tasks, and general overwhelm. In neuroscience, we have a flow state. So in the framework, that's the listener directing the daemon in the task positive network mode, and the function is effortless action, silent voice, and presence. Welcome back, Julie Cunningham. Key takeaways. The brain cannot run default mode network and task positive network simultaneously in a healthy functional way. They are anti-correlated. That's what anti-correlated means. They are mutually exclusive. In a hijacked brain, they run simultaneously and they steal resources from each other and compete. And that's where we get ADD, ADHD, depression, and anxiety. Welcome, Melissa, one happy radish. The salience network is the toggle operator. It switches between modes based on salience. When awareness is anchored in the salience network, the listener, you gain conscious control of the toggle. So you are completely free instantly from ADD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression. Flow states are task positive network dominance. So default mode network is suppressed, action is effortless, and the voice is silent. ADHD, anxiety, and depression involve toggle dysfunction. Both networks run simultaneously or switching is impaired. Meditation trains the toggle, strengthening the salience network, improving anti-correlation, and enabling conscious switching. So you don't need to take a bunch of pills for the rest of your life. And there's nothing wrong with you either. Like it's just it's a muscle. Liberation is recognizing yourself as the salience network listener, the awareness that operates the toggle, not the modes themselves. And then we have links to further exploration and then research citations. So there you have it, folks. The cause of ADD, ADHD, anxiety, and depression, how it operates within the brain, and your power to cure it for yourself. On the website, it's under the network toggle mechanism, under the neuroscience collection. Pretty freaking amazing. And there's only like 2 people here watching on TikTok, and I don't see anyone on YouTube. So like this is world changing stuff. I can't wait until this gets out to everybody. Oh man. Like I said, today's kind of a lazy day. I did want to get on here and live stream this because I just created this page today, and I feel like a lot of people need to see this. So I will get this video cut up and edited and uploaded to YouTube and TikTok so that people can find it and you can review it. Again, everything you need to know is on claimfreedom.org. I love all of you. Stay blessed.